Greetings, everyone present here tonight from the Ninth Executive Council of the Association of Gambian Students in India, the University of the Gambia Debate Association (UTGDA), and all members of Gambian and all well-wishers present here. I am Abdullah Pau, and I'll be your moderator for tonight's debate session. As we have two powerful states, that is the state of Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh, debating on a very important motion tonight. Yeah, and from there, I would like us to, as we all know that it is a norm in Gamin to begin every session with opening prayers. So I will urge every one of us to take 1 minute of our times, 1 minute of our time to pray in our various ways. Amen. May all our prayers be accepted, like our Deputy Welfare Minister will say, Alma Duabe Javila. Yeah, from there, I would like to invite the Presidential Department to give their opening remarks.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. May I please confirm my audibility? Yeah, so we say which two are able them in members, of course, the ninth executive members and every other individual that is present here, alongside our adjudicators from the University of the Gambia Debate Association, which is the UTGDA. Well, I wouldn't have to say much today. And first, I must apologize for not being able to turn on my video. I'm actually outside, and I hope that the apology is acceptable. And yeah, so I think today we're about witnessing another clash of titans, that the wisdom and wits that we would witness in just some seconds to come. So we look forward to a fruitful debate because today would serve as the last day for the quarter finale, which would obviously usher us into the semi. So all in all, I believe this wouldn't be an easy encounter to Andhra and of course to that of Rajasthan. So to put this into context, Andhra Pradesh were last year's finalists, and then for the state of Rajasthan, this is actually their first time of appearing in the Gambian Interstate Debate Championship. So let's see whether Rajasthan will defy all odds to get to the semis of this year, denying the Andhra Pradesh side from getting to the semis and not to talk of the finale. So that being said, I officially declare this state session open and back to you, Mr. Moderator, Deputy Information and Communications, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for that wonderful remarks. Yeah, and from there, I think we have next on the agenda we have the introduction of the adjudication desk. To the adjudication desk, if you are present, may you please let me know.
Good day, Mr. Moderator, we're present. And I am Alga Simba, the president of the UTGDA, one of the adjudicators. And with me today is Ms. Fatum Bouch, who is also an adjudicator, and she is the Information and Public Relations Officer of the UTGDA. Thank you, and looking forward to a fruitful debate.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. From there, can you please confirm the presence of the participants from Rajasthan? The participants, please raise up your hands if you are present. We have only 2 participants present. Okay, 3. All right, thank you, thank you. We have all participants present, I guess. Yes, and so to the adjudication desk, Mr. President or Madam Butch, the floor is yours.
Um, Thank you very much. So as part of the rubric that we'll be judging the debate on, it would include the content, and of course, content goes for 40 marks. We'll be looking at the arguments, how well they are made, the thinking and analysis, and of course, the research. The arguments goes for 20 marks, thinking analysis goes for 10 marks, and of course, the research goes for 10 marks, sorry. And we're also going to look at your structure, that is 30%. And under the structure, we have clarity and coherence, which is 10%, understanding of your role, which is 10%, and logical flow of your ideas, which is also 10%. And aside from that, we also have the rebuttals or the definition. So for the definition or rebuttals, we have 10%, listening and engagement, that is 5%, point of information, 5%. And we also have time management, which goes for 10%. And under time management, we have adherence to time limits, that is 5%, pacing 2, final summary, and final summary 2. So yeah, wishing the debaters the best of luck. So if the house is set, we would like to hear from the Prime Minister. Oh, sorry, kindly give us a minute, please. A minute. We're set now. So if the Prime Minister is set, he or she can go ahead.
Am I audible and visible? Can I start? Can I start?
So you're audible. Kindly give us 30 seconds for the timekeeper to be set. Please. We're sorry. Great. You may start now, Honorable Prime
A
Minister.
nation that failed to harmonize its system of governance is a nation that risks inefficiency, waste, and disunity. Holding elections separately may serve us in the past, but today, in a time when other democracy must be lean, responsive, and inclusive, concurrent elections are not just an option, they are a necessity. Mr. Chairman, I will give the structure of my debate. First, I will define the motion. First, I will state the motion, define the key terms, set my perimeter, state my 3 points, backed by statistic, do rebuttal, summarize, and then conclude. Mr. Chairman, the motion at hand. This House believes that national and local government election in the Gambia should be held concurrently. Mr. Chairman, I will then define the motion, but first I will start by defining the Gambia in connection with the motion. The Gambia refers specifically to the state and its electoral framework, where both national and local elections are constitutionally mandated, but at different times. The national election. This refers to the election conducted to elect representatives to the National Assembly, including the President and members of the Parliament. Source, IEC Gambia Electoral Framework 2021. Local government election. Election help to choose local representatives such as mayors, chairperson, and councillors at regional or municipal level. Source, Local Government Act, the Gambia, 2002. Held concurrently, taking place at the time or simultaneously, at the same time or simultaneously. Source, Oxford English Dictionary. Mr. Chairman, I will be setting the perimeter. This debate is solely about the timing of election in the Gambia. We are proposing that national and local government election be held at the same time. We are not discussing any major rule, power, or structure. Only the synchronization of election dates within the existing democratic framework. Mr. Chairman, I'll be giving my 3 points, backed by statistic. First, cost effectiveness and resource optimization. If elections were held concurrently, logistics such as polling station, staff training, and ballot materials could be streamlined and costs will be reduced. According to Independent Electoral Commission, the cost of organizing separate elections in 2021 and 2023 exceeded $450 million combined. And also, statistics from ECOWAS Electoral Advisory Body shows that making local and national elections concurrently will reduce costs by up to 30%. Mr. Chairman, these funds could be used to build schools, stock machines in our hospital, and also pave local roads. This is not efficient. This is not efficiency for its own sake. It is a moral imperative to redirect scarce public resources to where they are needed the most. My second point will be increased voters turnout and engagement. Historically, local elections in the Gambia have seen lower voter turnout compared to national elections. Combining them, that will ensure that the local representatives are elected with greater legitimacy. In 2021-2022 presidential election recorded a turnout of over 85%. Local election in 2022 shows only 45% voter turnout, report by IEC Annual Report 2023. Democratic drives, not just when people vote, but when they vote for all level leadership with equal power and awareness. My third point will be improve administrative efficiency and political stability. Conducting separate elections often lead to election fatigue, prolonged political campaign, delay development project. With a harmonized election calendar, the government and stakeholders can focus on more governance rather than perpetual political campaigning and transition. According to the IDEA Africa 2022, countries with separate elections lose 40% more days to political disruption compared to those with synchronized election. Okay, you can go ahead.
Can you prove that efficiency automatically means better democracy?
I have said it when I was reading it. Please pay attention carefully. Okay, Mr. Chairman, I will continue. Countries with separate election lose 40% more days to political disruption compared to those with synchronized election. As an African proverb wisely says, you cannot climb a tree twice using the same different fruits. Let us climb this tree of governance with coordinated steps through synchronized election that bring unity, order, lasting stability. Mr. Chairman, I will rebuttal my opponent's point. I know my opponents will come here and say concurrent election will confuse voters. In Ghana, Sierra Leone, and Kenya, countries with similar socio-political structure, voters' education efforts have ensured that Concurrent elections are conducted smoothly. It is not confusion. It is about preparation and education. I know they will come up here again and say uh, the electoral commission, the electoral commission lacks the capacity to manage concurrent election. If IEC is adequately funded and supported, an obligation of the state, it is both the infrastructure and the experience to manage concurrent pool, just as it handled referenda and run off effectively. Mr. Chairman, I will then summarize my debate. I came before the House, gave the opening statement, gave the structure of my debate, then state my 3 points, which are give my 3 points, which are cost effectiveness and result optimization, in voters engagement, and also improve administration and political stability.
Thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister. Kindly give us some time to put together your remarks.
Mr. SG, are you available?
Come in newsletter, first edition, 2025. Spread from home, woven into a new life. Though there's the excitement of a new friendships, foods, and perspectives. But hey, quite ache of homesickness persists, and day by day it knocks in uncountably.
Some days, memories of home bring warmth, like a comforting blanket cheering the soul. Other days, they make you feel disconnected, reminding you of how far you are from familiar soil.
But hey, here comes the challenge, knowing what to hold on and what to let go of. For clinging too tightly to the past can keep you from growing into the person you can become. And forgetting too much, well, makes you lose the very essence of who you are.
See, living in India as a foreign student teaches you a sense of balance. You learn to hold on to the lessons, values, and love from home while letting go of habits or mindsets that no longer serve you.
For international students, life abroad isn't about replacing who we are. It's about blending the familiar warmth of home with the colors and textures of a new world.
As an introvert, I spend a considerable amount of time in my thoughts, reliving moments and memories, both good and bad.
Each time my mind revisits them, I
Thank you
trace
very much,
events.
moderator. Hello. Great, and thank you very much, the Honorable Prime Minister. So if the House is set, we'll now like to hear from the second speaker, that is the opposition leader. Yeah, yeah.
Good afternoon, honorable judges, distinguished participants, and my wanted opponents. As the leader of the opposition, I strongly stand against the motion that national and local government elections in the Gambia should be held concurrently. Before I dive into my reasons, I will first define the motion, address a few likely misconceptions from my opponents, then present my strong and evidence-based reasons for opposing it. First, to hold elections concurrently means to organize both national and local elections at the same time. The national elections decide who governs the entire country, the president and the National Assembly members. The local elections, on the other hand, decide who governs at the community and municipal level. Our mayors, you have our chairpersons and councillors. Both elections may sound similar, but in reality, they serve different purposes, involve different levels of accountability, and affect different aspects of citizens' lives. So before going further, I would like to rebut the points that my opponents made. My opponents made mention of cost effectiveness. If elections, she said cost effectiveness, if elections were held, cost will reduce. With due respect, that sounds good on paper, but in reality, it is misleading. Holding elections together may look cheaper at first glance, but when you look deeper, the logistics double. You need twice the number of ballot boxes, twice the voter education, more for providing offices and more security. IEC will have to count multiple ballots separately. That means more days, more labor, and more confusion. And also, she made mention of improve it increase voters turnout. Concurrent elections will increase counters turnover and make the price faster. And she also made mention that it improved efficiency. With due respect, my opponents keep confusing efficiency with speed. Holding two elections together did not make the system efficiency. It just make it crowded and chaotic.
POI.
Okay.
POI.
Okay,
I
you may
said
comment.
I said it improved administrative efficiency. I don't talk about voters' efficiency. Administrative efficiency. Take note.
If the ICC struggles to declare the results one elections on time, imagine two efficiency without capacity. It's just wishful thinking. So don't waste my time. I don't want to embarrass you twice in this debate. Now moving on to my points. Moving on to my points. In the Gambia, the 2018 local government election saw only 34% voter turnout out of over 886,000 registered voters. By 2023, that number rose slightly to 41%, but slightly more than half of registered voters did not show up. The source is from the Standard newspaper, May by 2023. Out of 962,157 registered voters in the 2023 local elections, 57% were women and 43% men, with 58% youth participation by registration. The source too is from the Point newspaper by 2023. This shows that the local elections attract different kind of participation. Citizens treat them differently from national ones. We also know that legal experts like Lamin Jedabo have raised concern that the local government service commission itself is unconstitutional in how it removes officials, providing that local governance still faces serious structural confusion. So the question is, if local elections already face how participation so the question is, if local elections already face low participation, constitutional confusion, and weak oversight, how wise is it to combine them with national elections that already require so much attention and resources? And the reasons why I'm against this motion: one, we have separate elections and strengthened accountability. When elections are held separately, citizens are properly assess each level of government. If both are done together, national politics will overshadow local issues. People will focus on who becomes president, not who becomes their mayor or councillor. And local candidates will struggle for visibility and media coverage, and as a result, accountability at the community level will collapse. Example, in Nigeria 2019, when federal and state elections were held close together, local candidates complained that voters barely know their names. National campaigns swallowed local voices. Example 2, in Kenya 2013, the concurrent election made local campaigns invisible, with voters focusing entirely on the presidential race. You cannot solve community water shortage, poor roads, or waste management by voting based on national promises. And two, my other point, to have confusion and overload for voters. Imagine being handed 105 or 6 ballot papers on the same day. One for president, one for MP, one for mayor, and one for chairperson, and maybe more. This will lead to confusion, low queues, and higher chances of spoiled ballots. Example, in Kenya 2013, voters had 6 different ballots on the same day. The Kenya Human Rights Commission reported that 3.5% of all votes were spoiled, and accounting took 6 days because of the overload. In the Gambia, the IEC already faces logistical problems like late polling materials, misleading names, and limited training for polling staff. If both elections are merged, these problems will multiply. And third, my third point is financial burden and logistical pressure. Some may argue that, like how they argue that merging elections save money, but in reality, it creates logistic challenges. The Independent Electoral Commission (IEC) will need more staff, more training, and more security because each ballot type is counted and verified separately. Even countries with more resources struggles with this. In Nigeria, the concurrent elections cost massive logistical breakdowns, forcing the INEC to postpone voting in several states in 2019. And in Ghana, the Electoral Commission studied the idea of combining national and local elections in 2019 and officially rejected. It's saying the savings will be minimal compared to the administrative risks. And in the Gambia, the 2021 presidential election alone cost over $330 million, while the 2023 local elections cost about $175 million. Combining them doesn't reduce costs. It increases the complexity, workload, and potential for mistakes. Combining elections to save money is like using one plate for soup and rest, you end up spilling both. Number four, in conclusion, in conclusion, in conclusion, we the opposition have shown that separate elections strengthen accountability. Concurrent elections confuse voters and state resources. Combining them weakens local democracy, and the so-called cost savings are just an illusion. Thank you so much. I rest my case.
Thank you very much, Honorable Opposition Leader. Kindly give us some time to put together your marks.
Letter to the male child. Hello, Waji. Yes, life can be tedious, crazy, kind, and unfair to you. Traumas from childhood still lingering around, breaking your heart and disrupting your good moments.
Societal values dictate you're a man, and all that making life even more tedious and lonesome. With burdens to bear, thus turning you closer to aggressive reactions.
Then again, society will mock. He's aggressive, nonchalant, and even more, bringing another echo of worries. But then, are you to blame society, or is it society to be blamed?
That's why it all comes back to you. Brother, take care of yourself. Be the you that pleases you. Write your story holding your own pen. Societal judgments, their business, not yours.
Break down. Take the time you need to heal. Man, it is okay not to be okay. So your weaknesses, burdens, emotions, speak up. Talk to someone you trust. Feel eased, relieved, and cool. Let society's voice fade and let your mental health thrive. It
Thank
takes
you very
you
much.
to build you.
This,
So
I
if the
hope,
house,
speaks your inner
if
voice.
the Hello. Yeah, if the House is set, we would love to hear from the Deputy Prime Minister.
Am I audible and visible, please?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the House, democracy should not be a marathon of endless election, but a decisive act of unity. Every separate decision drains our resources, divides our people, slows our progress. One cycle, one choice, one voice, one mandate. This is how nations grows bigger. Mr. Speaker, allow me to give you the structure of my debate. I will first start by reminding the motion to the House, debunk the baseless claims made by the opposition, strengthen my prime minister's points, and then give my own points, and then accept a POI. I'll then summarize and then conclude. Mr. Speaker, to start with, by tabling the motion, this House believes that national and local government election in the Gambia should be held concurrently. So we on the government bench, we are here to discuss. We are not here to discuss about powers or responsibilities of local and national institutions. The motion is solely about timing. Synchronizing election dates show that local and national election occur at the same time. Mr. Speaker, I'll then move on to debunk, the baseless points made by this opposition. Can you imagine? Their point is like a fortress built on sand. They made mention of, voters will be confused by multiple balloting. This is an insult to Gambian intelligence, Mr. Speaker. Our citizens manage complex lives, so they can certainly handle certain ballots with clear design and civic education, as seen in Ghana and Kenya. Voter comprehension is proven to be high. To argue otherwise is not to protect our democracy, but to patronize our people. Mr. Speaker, moving on to their next point. They said it is too expensive to organize in one go. Really, this logic is backward, Mr. Speaker. It is the separate cycle that is expensive. The ECOWAS report cited by my Prime Minister confirms a 30% saving, 30% saving by the ECOWAS. So, meaning the initial cost is an investment that yields massive recurring savings every electoral cycle. So, choosing separate elections is not fiscal prudence. It is a deliberate choice to waste public funds. Mr. Speaker, moving on to their third point, they made mention of we need frequent election for accountability. I mean, frequent election is not accountability, it is distraction. True accountability comes from a government that can focus on delivering its promises for a full term, judge comprehensively at the end of it. You cannot measure a government's height if you force it to kneel for a new election every year. It does not make sense. Definitely not. Mr. Speaker, I will then move on to strengthen the point of my Prime Minister. On cost savings, as she rightly mentioned, on cost savings, I mean, on cost savings, while the Prime Minister revealed we could save about, there is a 30% save, which is mathematically, $135 million. Let me tell you what this means to our community. I mean, the Minister of Education data confirmed that this sum could build about 50 plus classrooms across our region. So basically, this is not just about, budget lines. It's about giving our children a proper learning environment. So every vote against this motion is a vote against educating our future generation in proper learning environment. Moving on to our next point on voter turnout. Yes, the alarming 45% local made mention of my Prime Minister. Okay, come on.
You said it will
Yes,
save
come on.
money. Can you give us an actual figure from the IEC or any Gambian government report that supports that?
Thank you for your question. But in fact, this only proves why synchronizing is needed. Because separate election cause exactly the problem you have just raised. And that is why concurrent election remains the stronger and more democratic choice. Thank you for your full question. Again, moving on to my next point of my Prime Minister. The alarming 45% local election turnout, as stated by my Prime Minister, has real consequences for governance. Research by the Gambia Governance Forum reveals constituencies with low turnout suffered 35% higher corruption in local development contracts. So, practically, higher turnout through concurrent elections serve as our most powerful democratic disinfectant, ensuring every dollar spent actually benefits our communities. Mr. Speaker, moving on to her last point, she made mention of on political stability. Yeah, beyond reducing political distraction, stability directly fuels our economic prosperity. As reported by the Gambia Chamber of Commerce, it states that small and medium businesses suffer 15% revenue drops during election cycle due to policy uncertainty and delayed government payment. This reform protects the livelihood of our market women, our young entrepreneurs, and most importantly, our local businesses who form the backbone of our country. Mr. Speaker, this will then take me to my three solid points. My first point will be based on um, policy alignment. Policy alignment. When national and local leaders are elected at different times, their mandate often conflicts, slowing down development. Synchronizing election means both levels of leadership start together with fresh and aligned mandate from the people. As reported by the UNDP Africa reported in 2022 reported that misalignment dropped by 25% in harmonized systems. So, in simple terms, one united start means one united vision for progress instead of leaders pulling the nation in different directions. Most importantly, and when policies are aligned from the start, projects move faster, resources are used better, and citizens see results sooner. Mr. Speaker, moving on to my second point, international credibility. I mean, the world is watching the Gambia's democracy. So donors and investors prefer streamlined elections that are easier to monitor and less likely to spark dispute. So with one harmonized election cycle, transparency improves, dispute reduces, and stability increases. So in 2022, the African Union reports that concurrent election cut dispute by 30%. So this builds confidence in our institution and attract more international support. In fact, credibility is not just about winning home votes, but about winning the trust, but about winning trust abroad, which directly translates into more aid, more investment, and most importantly, more partnership. Moving on to my last but not the least point, it reduced voter fatigue. So, too many separate elections discourage citizens from voting. The proof is clear, as cited by my Prime Minister. In 2021 presidential election, it shows about 85% turnout, which is massive. But in the local election, it shows just 45%. I mean, frequent voting makes people tired and disengaged. According to Afrobarometer in 2023, over 40% of Gambian voters expressed concern over election fatigue. Unsurprisingly, when voting becomes a burden, democracy suffers. But when voting is simplified, democracy flourishes. Mr. Speaker, this will then take me to the summary of my debate. I started by reminding the motion to the House. I debunked the baseless point made by the opposition, and then I gave my own point backed by statistics, and then my points were international credibility, reduced voter risks, and then policy alignment. I then accepted a POI. I will then move on now to conclude. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the House, we owe it to the people to govern wisely and responsibly. Holding election together is not only efficient, it is fair, just, necessary. Thank you. Ma fogon suma time bi ma fogon suma time bi let's everybody lo mata sorry.
Life after graduation. A piece written by Manima Jane, the ex-social and welfare minister of the 8th Executive Council. And it goes, exams done and dusted, sign out, celebrated with friends and classmates, statuses posted, likes and comments checked. Graduation dates announced.
Hello. Hello, good afternoon. Do we have the Deputy Prime Minister here? Hello? Is it Bailo?
Yeah.
Sorry, my network had a problem before you ended your strengthening. So is it possible that you perhaps continue from there and you just give your points, please?
Where do you want me to start from?
Your points, exactly.
Okay. So how about the time of the issue of the timing?
Hold on. Let me communicate with this person. Okay, so I've been informed by the timekeeper that you had you had 4 minutes, like you were at your fourth minute when you started your point. Is it possible for you to do your points in 3 minutes, 15 seconds, including the summary, please? We're sorry for that.
Okay, okay.
Sorry, my hand was up, but it seems the
Sorry, Mr.
operator.
President, you want to say something?
Yes, I wanted to say something. Yeah, so this issue is not actually new in Gambia. Last year too, we had a similar one. So I suggest rather than him starting from the first minute, because at some point there could be a clash on the aspect of timing, to start it all afresh so that
Mm-hmm.
we can have to give him the entire 7 minutes from where he would start to the
Mm-hmm.
end. I think that will be a bit better than him starting from a particular place. At some point, when time is started, timing should be something else. Yeah.
Okay, that is fine with us too.
Okay, okay. I think
So
that would
if
be
that is
like
okay with the violation, go ahead, please. So timekeeper, please start the time.
Am I audible, please?
Yes, please, you are.
Okay, then, Mr. Speaker, moving on to my point. My first point is based on,
Sorry,
policy. Huh?
hello.
Huh?
We're
Start.
saying that you should start the debate now instead of moving to your points.
Okay,
We're sorry for that.
okay. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, democracy should not be a marathon of endless election, but a decisive act of unity. Every separate election drains our resources, divides our people, and slow our progress. One cycle, one voice, one mandate. This is how nations grow. Mr. Speaker, allow me to give you the structure of my debate. I will start by reminding the motion to the House, debunk the baseless point made by this opposition, strengthen my Prime Minister's point, and then give my own point, accept a POI. I will then summarize, I will then conclude. So start by, tabling the to start by remanding the motion to the House. This House believes that national and local government election in the Gambia should be held concurrently. We on the government bench, we are not here to discuss about powers or responsibilities of local and national institutions. The motion is solely about timing, synchronizing election dates so that national and local election occur at the same time. Mr. Speaker, I will then move on to debunk the point of the opposition bench. It's like a fortress built on sand. Their first point was voters will be confused by multiple ballots. This is an insult to Gambian intelligence. Our citizens manage complex life. They can certainly handle two ballots with clear design and civic education. As seen in Ghana and Kenya, voter comprehension is proven to be high. To argue otherwise is not to protect our democracy, but to patronize our people. Mr. Speaker, moving on to their next point, they made mention of it will be too expensive to organize. This logic is backward. It is a separate cycle that are expensive. The ECOWAS report cited by my prime minister confirmed 30% saving, which is huge. The initial cost is an investment that yields massive recurring savings every electoral cycle. Choosing separate election is not fiscal prudence. It is a deliberate choice to waste public funds. Mr. Speaker, moving on to the last point they made mention of, we need frequent election for accountability. Really, frequent election is not accountability. It is a distraction. True accountability comes from a government that can focus on delivering its full promises. It promises for a full term, judge comprehensively at the end of it. You cannot measure a government height if you force it to kneel for a new election every year. Mr. Speaker, this will then take me to the strengthening of the point of my Prime Minister. On cost savings, while the Prime Minister revealed we could say there is a saving of 30% of the 450 million, which is mathematically a saving of $135 million. Let me show you what this means to our community. According to the Ministry of Education data, it confirms that this sum could build 50 new classrooms across our region. So this is not just about budget lines. This is about giving our children proper learning environment. So every vote against this motion is a vote against educating our future generation in proper learning environment. Mr. Speaker, moving on to our next point on voter turnout. The alarming 45% local election turnout cited by my Prime Minister has real consequences for governance. Recent research by the Gambia Governance Forum reveals that constituencies with low turnout suffer 35% higher corruption in local development contracts. So higher turnout Two
POI.
concurrent elections serve as our most democratic disinfectant. Ensuring every dollar is spent actually benefits our community. Please, come on, come on.
When local and national resource clash politically, who will voters hold accountable? The president or the mayor?
As I said earlier, thank you for your question. But in fact, that only proves why synchronizing is needed, because separate election cause exactly the problem you have just raised, and that is why concurrent election remains stronger and more democratic. Thank you for wasting your time. I mean, Mr. Speaker, moving on to this third point. Moving on to the third point made mention of my prime minister on political stability. Yeah, beyond reducing political distraction, stability directly fuels our economic prosperity. The Gambia Chamber of Commerce reports that small and medium businesses suffer 15% revenue drops during endless election cycles due to policy uncertainty and delayed government payments. This reform protects the livelihood of our market women, young entrepreneurs, and local businesses who form the backbone of our country. Mr. Speaker, this will then take me to the 3 points, my three solid points. The first one will be policy alignment. So when national and local leaders are elected at different times, their mandate often conflicts, slowing down development. Synchronizing election means both level of leadership start together with fresh and aligned mandate from the people. I mean, the UNDP Africa in 2022 report that misalignment dropped by 25% in harmonized system. So, in simple terms, one united start mean one united vision for progress. Instead of leaders pulling the nation in different directions, important, instead of leaders pulling the nation in different direction. So when policies are aligned from the start, projects move faster, resources are used better, and then citizens see results sooner. Moving on to my second point, international credibility. The world is watching the Gambia's democracy. So donors and investors prefer streamlined elections that are easy in this house. We owe it to the people to govern wisely and responsibly. So holding election together is not only efficient, it is just, fair, and necessary. Let us prove that this house chooses the people over waste. Thank you. Just hope I don't the debate. I just hope I don't.
Thank you very much, the Deputy Prime Minister. So to the last speaker, kindly give us some time to put together the marks of the Deputy Prime Minister.
Life After Graduation, a piece written by Mani Majane, the ex-Social and Welfare Minister of the 8th Executive Council. Exams done and dusted. Sign out, celebrated with friends and classmates. Statuses posted, likes and comments checked. Graduation dates announced, friends and family informed. Preparations, shoppings, and photo session bookings begin.
On graduation day, gowns worn, hearts thrown into the sky, congratulatory messages floating in and out of your phone, updates on LinkedIn, resumes revised, profiles refreshed.
Then begins. Application submitted but no feedback. Promises from HR yet no interview call.
Some begin to give up. Some blame LinkedIn for not selling their resume. Nepotism seems like the only solution.
Commerce graduates end up working in the health sectors. Engineering graduates take jobs in ministries. The only wish becomes to earn something at the end of the month.
Passion fades, ambitions sink, knowledge acquired dries out. The motto shifts from changing the situation of the country to changing the situation of the family. Author Mani Majane, Social and Welfare Minister of the 8th Executive Council of the Association of Gambian Students in India. the first newsletter of the Association of Gambian Students in India under the 9th Executive Council featured authors by the name Mohammed Bari, who's a second-year computer engineering student who wrote the piece
Thank you
Friend
very much,
Home
the
Improvement in Your
moderator.
Life. Thank you.
For the Speaker of the House, last but not the least, the Deputy Opposition Leader.
Good evening, everyone. Honorable Speaker, respected debaters, and esteemed audience. I rise today to strongly argue that national and local government elections in the Gambia should not be held concurrently. As the deputy leader of opposition, allow me to give the structure of my debate. I will start by tabling the motion to the House, review the points of the Deputy Prime Minister, strengthen the points of my opposition leader, accept POI, give my own solid points, summarize, and then conclude. So the rebuttals, let me first address the points raised by my worthy opponents on the proposition side. The opposing side argue that holding national and local government elections will reduce costs or will save costs and increase efficiency. While that sounds attractive on the surface, the truth is that democracy cannot be reduced to a matter of convenience and or money. According to the Independent Electoral Commission, IEC, 2021 presidential election alone costs around $340 million, supported by international partners. If we hold national and local government elections together, we will need twice the manpower, twice the ballot boxes, twice the counting time. Instead of saving, we will end up spending more on logistics and risk confusion during counting. Second, they said concurrent elections encourage participation, but in reality, when national and local government elections are merged, voters focus almost entirely on national politics. Local issues like sanitation, roads, and community services are buried under party politics. This is not participation. This is distraction. And let's be honest, Gambians do
POI,
not skip.
POI, please.
Come on.
Okay, honorable member, can you explain why the Gambia should continue wasting resources on multiple separate elections when one harmonized election could save money, boost turnout, and strengthen our democracy? Can you tell us this?
I hope you are not listening. Gambia, we cannot reduce ourselves, our democracy, to a matter of money or convenience. If there's more to elections than just saving money. So continue. Merging elections, local government and national elections, this is not participation, this is distraction. And let's be honest, Gambians do not skip local government elections because of this. They skip it because they think that the outcome didn't change their lives. So the solution is not to merge elections, it's to build trust in local councils. Third,
POI, POI,
third, by combining elections, national parties overshadowed local candidates. This weakens grassroots democracy, leaving local councils as mere extensions of central politics instead of being independent voice of the community. Mr. Speaker, marching elections makes local councils look like extension of central politics. This weakens our democracy. This weakens our governments on the community level. Mr. Speaker, democracy is not just about rosing or cutting corners. It's about ensuring that every level of government, local or national, is given proper attention, accountability, and legitimacy.
POI,
Concurrent elections undermine that principle.
POI.
Come on,
Can we have order in
come
the
on.
House, please? You may go
Therefore,
ahead.
therefore, we must firmly reject the idea of holding national and local government elections together. Mr. Speaker, this will move me on to supporting the points of my opposition leader. My opposition leader has given strong case by highlighting the importance of focus, accountability, logistics, and human pressure, political overlaps, and manipulation is holding election. To that, I will add my own points. Holding two elections together dilutes local issues. When national politics takes center stage, the attention shifts towards presidency and parliaments, leaving crucial local matters such as waste management, community development, and municipal accountability overshadowed. Citizens end up voting along national political lines instead of evaluating local candidates based on their competency. Second, concurrent elections create voter confusion and fatigue. Having to choose from multiple ballots, having to, multiple ballots, numerous candidates, and complex voting procedure overwhelms citizens, especially in rural areas with lower literacy level. This increased failed ballots weaken genuine participation in elections. My third point is resource and visibility is unfairly distributed. National parties with bigger budgets dominate campaign, drowning out independent or small local candidates. Instead of promoting grassroots democracy and concurrent elections consolidate power in the hands of national political elites. My fourth point is separate election enhance accountability. Citizens are able to judge leaders based on their specific responsibility. If elections are held together, accountability becomes totally out of focus. People may vote for a party both on both levels without considering the local governance performance. According to the Independent Electoral Commission, IEC, incumbent President Adam Barrow won December 2021 presidential election by overall 62.29, while the runner-up scored 21.454 in Banyu City Council alone, 49.67, while the runner-up scored 29.85 in Kalifi Municipality, 43.78, while the runner-up scored 32.41 in Brigama Area Council. This happened because of separate elections. If those elections were marked, candidates will not be able to vet. Candidates will not be able to vet and vote for the candidates. Electors will not be able to vet and vote for the candidates based on their competency or specific responsibility. My fifth point is logistical and administrative challenges must not be ignored. Conducting two elections put immense pressure on the Independent Electoral Commission. It complicates ballot printing, increased risk of errors, prolonged counting, and stretches security team, and stretches our security resources team, which may fuel dispute. Mr. President, to conclude, to the summary of my debate, I came to before this House, table the motion at hand, review the points of the Deputy Prime Minister, strengthen the points of my opposition leader, accepted POI, and give my own points. And to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, democracy is stronger when both national and local levels of governance are given space to thrive. Concurrent election will undermine grassroots participation, weaken accountability, and overwhelm electorate. Therefore, I submit that the Gambia should not hold national and local government elections concurrently. Thank you.
We seem to have lost the Speaker of the House. Thank you so very much, Deputy Opposition Leader. So please give us a few minutes to tabulate the points and we'll get back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Butch and the Speaker of the House, and also to the participants of Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh. So now the floor is open for any contributions. If you have any contributions to make, you may please raise your hand up. Yes, Mr. Lewis. But before you come in, may I please acknowledge the presence of our alumni members? We have Majane with us here, the Social Welfare Minister of the 8th Executive Council. Yeah, Banyuma, you are welcome. And we are happy to have you here tonight. Yeah, Mr. Lewis, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Yeah, I just wanted to ask if we can continue with the newsletter presentation. Then anytime someone wants to give in contribution, we can stop and they can proceed. Because I haven't seen anyone's hand up right now. I'm not sure if we can do that. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Lewis. If we don't have any contributions, I guess we can proceed with the presentation of the modern newsletter. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Broken Calabash, Broken Promises of a Nation by Mr. Abdullah Bao. In the early hours of autumn 30th, in the glittering halls of Bantor Royal Hotel, a historic moment unfolded in the political landscape of a small coastal republic. Seven political parties and one independent candidate came together to form one of the biggest coalition parties in the political landscape of a small nation called the Republic of Sangoma.
That morning, an internal vote declared Keluntang Jollof, a relatively unknown businessman and an independent candidate, as the face of this coalition.
He would go on to lead the alliance that promised a new Sangoma. It was a promise that electrified the nation. This coalition was formed to overthrow the incumbent Fabure Faburama because of the political and civil fatigue during the incumbent's rule of 22 years. For the first time, opposition parties united behind Kaluntang Jalaf, a relatively unknown businessman who became the face of the coalition, a broad alliance of opposition parties. The formation of the coalition was more than just political maneuvering. It was a response to the fatigue and frustration many citizens of the nation felt after more than 2 decades of autocratic rule under Fabure Faburama. Civil liberties had been stripped away, journalists jailed, and dissent silenced. The people were desperate for change.
The coalition's campaign resonated across every corner of the nation, from the capital, Bantor, to the last village, Bindingba. The message was clear. A new dawn was possible. Key promises made by the coalition included restoration of democracy and rule of law, translational justice and national healing, judicial and constitutional reform, introduction of term limits, freedom of press and civil society empowerment, good governance and anti-corruption. With the rising popularity of the coalition across Sangoma populace, everyone had hopes for a change. For the first time in 22 years.
On Winterfest, the people of Sangoma turned up in overwhelming numbers to cast their votes. On Winter 2nd, the election results were declared and the coalition emerged victorious. And the streets of Kankemba to Buru Sanding, Tabakuto to Fulaya and Bisab to Firimalan were filled with the citizens celebrating this victory, marking an end to dictatorship. The people basked in a new sense of freedom.
The streets buzzed with optimism. Sangoma has decided, and Faburama must go. It became more than a slogan, it was a mantra, it was a movement. But the euphoria didn't last long. The incumbent announced on national TV that he had rejected the election results and wouldn't be stepping down. At that point, the hearts of Sangoma people were instilled with fear. Fear that caused the displacement of thousands of citizens across the country to neighboring nations. This in turn resulted to the interference of Continental Alliance forces. As a result, the incumbent was compelled to relinquish power.
On winter 19th, His Excellency Keluntan Jalov was duly sworn in as the new president of the Sangoma Kingdom in Kutuboya, the capital of the Nyodema Kingdom, a neighboring state offering refuge. He returned to Sangoma shortly after Fabrama's departure, marking a peaceful transition of power and a new era of democratic rule.
But now, 8 years after the revolution, the people are left asking a painful question. Have the promises been fulfilled? The answer, for many, is a sobering no. Constitutional reform. The old document crafted under a dictatorship remains in effect. Translation of justice. Reports were written and testimonies recorded, yet justice never came. Term limits, still not legally enshrined. Political maneuvering around the presidency continues. Press freedom. The journalists still face intimidations and arrests when they challenge the state. Corruption and nepotism. Public institutions are riddled with scandals. Mismanagement of funds and favoritism thrives. The idea of good governance and accountability and transparency seems as distant today as it was under the old regime.
Is this really the nation the people of Sangoma were promised? Our so called revolution feels stuck. The very system we vowed to dismantle still stands, just masked by a different face. Sometimes I wonder if we pause long enough to remember people like Masamba Walo, who gave their lives so that we might see a new nation
Sorry, guys, please
from the
give us
ashes
some
of the
time.
old.
We are putting together the results, so we will get back to you soon.
This was not what they taught for, not for promises broken and hopes realized.
So I leave you with this. What do we truly need as a nation? Is it a change of a system? Or is it a change in the way we think, lead, and treat one another? Author Abdullah Bao, the final year in computer science and engineering.
Next piece, When Love Meets Manhood, author Maudie Lewis. I was told that love comes when you least expect it. But again, how can you wait for something you've been dreaming of your whole life?
As men, we are raised to hide in the shadows of love, suppress our emotions and appear strong, while deep inside, we are drowning in our emotions, fearing that expressing them will make the judgmental society paint the weakness signs on us.
We build layers around our hearts, brick by brick, to protect us from potential heartbreaks and assumed vulnerability of love.
We
We
mask our
mask our
feelings,
feelings,
disguised behind a pretense of stoicism, fearing that showing any image of emotion will be seen as a sign of weakness, making us subject of judgment to society that equals emotional vulnerability with failure.
historically, traditional masculinity often equals strength of men with stoicism. Men are expected to be the protectors and providers. But why can't
Why
men
can't
be
men be
masculine?
more masculine and still express emotions?
Why can't the Ibras and Tostes holding their partners' hands or bags be seen as signs of love and affection and not labeled as being handpicked or submissive?
Why can the Joes and the Jatas let their guard down without being termed weak and subjected to potential heartbreak?
Why is it then that when the modus and the mothers stay attuned to their partner's feelings, offering comfort and being emotionally available, seen as he's too soft or even he's not manly enough, when it can be viewed as supportive or genuine expressions of love?
Dear society, to all these we can make a positive change. Not for the male child alone, but for that lady too, silently breaking down cause of this menace. Let us be different, I plead, and change the common narrative of when love meets manhood. Author Maud Lewis, final year student in computer science and engineering.
The second newsletter of the Association of Gambian Students in India under the Ninth Executive Council featured two authors who are executive members by the name Mr. Abdullah Bao, who is the Deputy Information and Communications Minister, author of the story Broken Calabash, Broken Promises of a Nation, and His Excellency Maud Lewis, a final year computer science and engineering student, the Vice President of the Association of Gambian Students in India, Ninth Executive Council, under the leadership of His Excellency Sajo A.K. Jaju, author of When Love Meets Manhood. Your presenters are Mr. Moses O.N. Dubasin and David S. Jiba, Secretary General and Deputy Secretary General. Thank you.
Thank you to the Secretariat Department, Mr. Moses Owen Dobasin and Mr. David Jiva, for that wonderful presentation. As we wait for the adjudicators to bring in the final results, the floor is still open if you have any contributions to make regarding the motion. Manima Jane, are you still with us? Manima? Nakala? I want to give you the floor to bring in your contributions. Gambian students in India. Um, is it Moses or David? The floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
I just wanted to say it was a very, very well contested debate on my side, and both the opposition side and the ministry, the let me see, the proposition side came up with very, very concrete points, and it was really, 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 it was one debate we're not disappointed per se. But then my take is, I think the most objections here to the concurrent elections really miss the bigger picture, right? Because, for example, I can say elections are not just about casting votes. It's also about building the trust in the democracy that we're building. So when we hold them together, per se, this national and this election, we create a single democratic moment that captures the public attention at large. And it also encourages participation. For example, let's say it also reinforces probably our civic unity. With these fragmented elections, we scatter the public focus, and we don't have a lot of engagement. We can see local elections are not attended to by most of the country because I'm supposing if they were held in concordance with this one, with the national elections, there'll probably be a higher voter turnout than it usually has. So I think this is my take on this. Although both sides came up with convincing arguments as to why the other is more, why the other is better than the other, but let's see what the education team has.
Thank you, Assistant Chief, Mr. David, for that contribution. The floor is still open. The members. Mr. David again. No. Mr. Lewis, may you please give us a minute? I think Mr. David wants to comment.
No, no. If anybody has something to say, they can come in. What I'm saying is not about the debate.
Okay. Mr. President, your hand is up. You're welcome. The floor is yours.
You wait until my mic is full. You tell me your hand is up. Okay. Thank you very much, Article Deputy Info, and of course the moderator of this said encounter. Yes. So the motion that has been tabled by the opposition side today reads: This House believes that national and local government elections in the Gambia should take place concurrently. So I think looking at the said motion, it's a very, very debatable motion. And just as the, the secretary, the deputy secretary made mention of, I suppose looking at it, like both sides of the aisle are able to bring forth things that are actually in tandem with the motion. Because when you go for the motion, for instance, wherein somebody would have to support the idea of having the said elections concurrently, we expect, per se, let's say if you're on the government side, to tell us how you're going to go about this, like how would the elections be held? Because in as much as we're saying we'll be having like elections being held simultaneously and all those things, we expect at least if you come to the house to tell us, okay, we will be using the ballot system of voting, or we'll be using the chat system of voting, or all those things, paper ballot per se. So at the end of the day, that would give a clear roadmap to the House that, okay, these guys really understand the motion and to say this is what they want to put across. Again, if you look at it, you come to realize that, okay, one has to give a distinction between the types of elections that we have in the Gambia. And I suppose all the debaters did well on that because they reminded us that there is national elections that would entail the presidency. You have that of the parliamentary elections. You as well have the local government elections. So I suppose these are the 3 or 4 elections we would have because the local government is again divided into two. You'd have the mayoral and the chairperson's elections, and again have that of the councillors. So I think to some extent having it together could make more sense. But again, how effective would it be? Because if at all, like let's say the voting is not done at once, and you said, okay, you're going to go and come back, do the election again. Sometimes it becomes something else. By the end of the day, there's always a difference when it comes to Gambian elections because for national elections, usually people follow their parties. Most of us do elect members based on, okay, we belong to a party, maybe because my parents are supporting this particular guy, and then we do that. But when it comes to local government elections, just as we would say in one, if you got like usually somebody that you're related to, somebody that you come from the same neighborhood, you think the person could be a better relation. So sometimes party politics wouldn't work that much when it comes to the local government sides. Okay, I'm made to understand that the adjudicators on that. You may proceed with that. I think we can answer the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, to the adjudication desk. Mr. Speaker, are you ready? Are you guys set?
We said kindly give us a minute. Let us settle this. Just a minute. Sorry. Great. Thank you very much, the moderator of today's debate. We're grateful. And to the debaters here, thank you very much for making this debate very competitive. I think we we're even debating amongst ourselves, but we've come to a conclusion on who is supposed to go to the next round and the team that is supposed to stay. So yeah, let's begin with the analysis of the debate with the Prime Minister. So the motion is this House believes that national and local government elections should be held concurrently. So this is basically a policy motion, and most of you guys were refining yourself in the how to call it in the Gambia. So we were assuming that it is the National Assembly of the Gambia proposing the motion to have the election, that is the national and local government election concurrently. So the Prime Minister came and gave us, of course, clear definitions of the key terms of the motion, quoting from the Local Government Act, which was something very commendable. I love the fact that you did not limit yourself in the Oxford Dictionary like I have seen in the previous debate. So you were able to give these. However, when it comes to local government election, I feel like you should have at least set a perimeter. When we say setting a perimeter, it is about you limiting the topic of discussion. For example, you're saying that in the local, you made it clear that the local government election refers to councillorship election, mayor, or chairmanship election, right? So yeah, you did not specify. I felt like you should have at least chosen one, saying that we should go with national national election together with mayoral election or the how to call it or the chairmanship election. I felt like you should have limited the topic. You should have limited your options under the local government election because you left it open like that. And we, of course, were assuming that the national government election will go ahead together with the local government election, and which includes the mayoral election, chairmanship election, and of course the councillorship election. So I felt like in subsequent debate that is suppose you make it to the following to the next round, you should be very careful of that. Yeah. So aside from that, we of course came up with very good points, which I really commend, and of course give us statistics and data. And yeah, you also move on to your pre-reporters, which was good, of course, and then gave us a good summary. I felt like you are the only person who gave a good summary of their debate, so that is very commendable too. Yeah. So aside from that, let's move on to the opposition leader of the House. So the opposition leader came and debunk the points of the Prime Minister. Sorry, she began by redefining the key terms of the motion, which, yeah, she defined in her own perspective, like to make it more clear. Yeah. So we are not, that is actually commendable because at least we've had a little bit of clarity of the most of the key terms that the Prime Minister was not able to do. So I commend that. But just in subsequent debates, when you feel when the definitions of the prime minister is okay, you should not force yourself to be doing another definition of the key terms. But aside from that, it is okay. So I also love the fact that you explain your points very well and gave us statistics. You were strong on the Gambian perspective, giving us statistics from the IEC, and you were really doing comparison. So I love that, and I felt like you gave a better, you are one of the debaters that gave the best explanation of their point. So kudos to you. Aside from that, so let's move on to your rebuttals. I feel like you could have done better with your rebuttals. You did not do justice with the rebuttals. I felt like you should have gone very deep with the rebuttals. I'm not saying you should waste a lot of your time on rebuttals, but I felt like you could have done better with your rebuttals. So when you suppose you make it to the next round, you should really work on your rebuttals because it's not about just raising a point and just saying a sentence. It's about you talking about that point, making us believe that that point should not stand in the house, and that is by you giving a counter argument to that point. So please, when you make it to the next round, work on your rebuttals. Aside from that too, your listening was also good, and yeah. So let us move on to your time. So you had a very bad timing, to be honest, because um, you did not even summarize your key times. You were not even done giving your points. So you had zero on the summary, but aside from that, you had some, yeah, your pacing was good and you did not get the full mark for the timing. But aside from that, I felt like you did amazingly well with your debate. Now let's move on to the Deputy Prime Minister of the House, who we had some network issues, but then he was able to do his debate. He also came in. I love the fact that he strengthened very well the points of the prime minister, and he was also trying to debunk the points of the opposition leader. So he also moved on to give his points. Um, I feel like you could have done better with explaining your points very well, because what you did mostly, you spent most of your time strengthening the points of the you spend most of your time strengthening the points of your prime minister, which is not bad, but then you should balance your time to ensure that you give justice to your points too, because when you are debating, your points are what matters the most. So you should spend a lot of your time on your point, please, in subsequent debate. That is, if you happen to make it to the next round. And aside from that, too, you had a very good time on the pacing was good, but then your summary, you did not summarize. You literally gave a concluding statement, or should I say, closing statement. So you're expected to remind the House of what you have done in the course of your debate. And aside from that, too, I felt like you could have also done better with your POR. You gave a generic response to the question that was asked to you. So you should touch the crux of the matter instead of just giving a generic response. Like you were like, that is why we don't want to go ahead with this. But you should address the question that was asked properly and not just clinging on the motion. But aside from that, you also are a very good speaker and you gave a very good debate. So now let's move on to the last speaker of the House, who was also good. But my only problem with the last speaker was the fact that there was incoherence in your debate. Like, I was finding it difficult to really follow your strengthening. I did not know when you were done with your strengthening and when you started your own point. So in subsequent debates, please ensure that you like make it clear that I am doing the strengthening, strengthen what you're supposed to strengthen, move on to your points. But aside from that, I felt like you did well, just that your debate was not coherent and you were giving like a lot of points which were not well explained, aside from opposed to what others were doing. Yeah, so I felt like you were one of the speakers that gave the least explanation of their point. So you should really work on that suppose to make it to the next round. But aside from that, you're a very good debater. Just work on your coherence, the clarity too. It really matters a lot. Debate is just like writing an essay. You need to guide the judges. Like if you are done with the introduction, tell the judges that I am done with this. I am done with like not necessarily saying, Miss Georges, I am now done with my definition or whatsoever, but make it seem that you are transition and make the transition and very easy. That would really help us as the judges too. And before I conclude on the analysis, I would like to raise the fact that some of you guys were telling us the motion again, especially the deputy prime minister. It is only the responsibility of the prime minister and the deputy prime minister to come and tell us the motion. We are not saying you should not like tell us the motion, but of course that is the role of the prime minister and the opposition leader. Like she has already given us the motion and we are already aware of the motion. So in next time you should use your time to talk about other things aside from coming and telling us the motion, you know. So please, you need to manage your time very well. And it was a really, really contested debate. So the best speaker of the house goes to the, yes, who? So the best speaker goes to the opposition leader. Opposition leader, that's the first lady from the opposition leader, from the opposition, sorry. And now to the winners and the runners up. So yeah, the winners of this debate are sorry, let me take a deep breath. So the winners of this debate is the government bench, and the runners-up are the opposition. Thank you very much and wishing you all the best. So you all are very good debaters. Keep it up.
Honorable
Sorry,
Speaker, the
sorry, Mr.
point is,
Speaker.
Yes, please.
May we please get the points for each state? That wasn't actually clarified.
Sorry? Oh, okay, the points. Here they are.
Yes.
Okay, so for the total for the government is 68.5%, and for the opposition is 62.75%. 68.5 and 62.75.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker of the House. Also, congratulations to both states, that is Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh. All of you are winners. There's no loser in here. And from there, I would like to invite the chairperson of the advice report, Mr. Bakari Jane, to give us the closing remarks. Mr. Jane, if you're with us, the floor is yours.
Okay, sorry for that. Greeting to you all, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the 8th Executive and the entire association, I would like to extend my deepest appreciation to all participants, educators, audience for taking time in your this busy schedule to attend this important debate section of the night executive. About the topic, the House believes that national and local government elections in the Gambia should take place concurrently as sparked insightful agreement on both sides. We have had great points concerning the efficiency, cost, and voters' participation, as well as important concern about the representation, accountability, and democracy process. Debates such as this are not merely about winning or losing. So I believe none of these are losers. So the participation is very important where the audience have learned from what you have debated. So it's about understanding, critical thinking, and preparing ourselves to be active citizens in saving the future of our country. Yeah, the debate, in the other hand, was we heard from the debaters that held, uh, holding an election in concurrently can lead to greater voter turnout and make the process more cost effective to maybe the government, and it will create a single single voter cycle that reduce election fatigue. These are clear benefits that can speak to efficiency and inclusivity. On the other hand, we had a concern about transparency in managing such large-scale election, where you have the presidential, the parliament, and the council election together. And the other challenge is illiteracy when voters are faced with multiple ballot boxes, just like voting in the Gambia, where you have each candidate ballot box is placed in front of the candidate electorate to choose from. and the risk of delay in announcing results also. We all know Gambia, when election is held, within 24 hours, the results are announced. But when all these are joined together to be one, you don't expect results to be announced within 24 hours because of the light schemes. What today discuss what today discussion has shown us is that both sides hold valid point, and it is through debate like this that we strengthen our democracy culture by weighting advantages against the disadvantages to find the best path forward for our country. I commended all debaters for the courage and respectful engagement, and I also thank our moderators, agitators, and everyone who worked behind the scene to make this event successful. As we close, let us take with us the lesson learned today, knowing that dialogue and open exchange of ideas are pillars of democracy. Thank you all for your time and commitment. I hereby officially announce today's debate section closed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jane, for those wonderful closing remarks. Yeah, I think the chairperson has actually ended the session for tonight. So good night. Farana Jama.